Hey, what's up? This is Trever from Face to Face. You're listening to Rock Music. Well, Chad kind of has had one foot in and out for a lot of years anyway.
Right.
That's why we ended up as a three-piece on How to Ruin Everything.
Right.
Chad was fully committed to the band on Big Choice and Self-Titled.
Yeah.
And then after that, was kind of wavering a little bit. Yeah. And then we made Ignorance is Bliss, and he was 100% in for that.
Yeah.
And I think the touring we did for that album, because it was really difficult because our fans didn't embrace it.
Which was that one that I saw you guys at the Middle East section.
Oh, okay.
That was the one. Yeah.
So that was a tough tour because, like I said, our fans didn't really like it initially. So that was kind of a hard one for him. And then ultimately, I think the life just didn't agree with him. All the constant traveling and touring.
Sure.
He loved playing music. We liked making music together and everything. So when we reformed in 2008, he jumped in and did a lot of the shows with us.
Yeah.
But by then, after our breakup and after him not being in the band for a long time, previous to that, he had already started getting work and moving on in life.
Sure.
So he started his own business, and he wasn't able to just completely drop everything.
Yeah.
So we kind of had this tentative agreement where he would come on tour with us when he had the time, when it wouldn't ruin the business that he started.
Sure.
And we did that for a few years, and then our alternative was to play three-piece whenever we didn't have him.
Right.
And we didn't like that. It just didn't sound good. So I found Dennis Hill, who's now playing with us full-time, as kind of Chad's backup.
And man, he can play, that guy.
He's awesome.
He's fucking good.
So after a few years of that, Chad was just kind of like, you got Dennis. He's great. I'm going to bow out, and the door's open for Chad.
That's it. It sounds like it's
totally amicable. Yeah.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah. It's just...
You both agree on that, so...
Yeah. So you never know. You could see Chad back up with us at some point, but
cool.
Probably not.
Cool.
It's gonna happen anytime soon. Recently, within the last couple of years, so I moved to Nashville some time ago, about 7 years ago, but I just recently moved back to the West. But when I lived in Nashville, our old drummer Pete also moved to Nashville.
Pete
Parada.
That plays for the Offspring.
Yeah, now he plays in Offspring. Yeah. And at the time, we'd gotten together to go out to dinner or something. We were just talking about a lot of different things.
Yeah.
And Gear came up, and he's like, "Oh, have you heard of these Kempers? Noodles is playing them, and they're really great." And I'm like, "Wait a minute, explain how this amp works."
Yeah.
And he explained everything to me, and I was like, "All right, I have to get one of these."
Right.
So I went on their website and I looked at who they already endorsed, and I saw that Chris from Less Than Jake was on there.
Yeah.
So I called up their TM and I said, "Who's the guy you called at Kemper?" And he put me in touch with the Kemper people.
Oh, cool.
I managed to get one that way.
Sweet.
What I love about it is, we do a lot of fly-in shows, particularly now that we're reformed. We don't necessarily go on tour for like 2 months. We'll do like a weekend here or 2 weeks there or whatever. So I have a Pelican case that just goes into, you snap it down and it fits in the overhead bin on the plane.
Oh, cool.
And what's great is I have a consistent sound every
Exactly.
night. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And it's easy to travel with, and
So money saving is
and it adds like I said,
consistency.
it's the consistent sound. You
Right.
know that because I like Vox AC30s, and when you put those on your backline list for rental, you never know what you're going to get because there's such a range of AC30s that have been made since the 60s and 70s all the way until now. No, Chad used the high watt. I had an amp called a Top Hat first.
Oh, yes, correct.
Well, I went from Marshall to Vox to Top Hat.
Right.
And a Top Hat is a custom boutique amplifier made in Orange County. I think they moved to the South. Now they're like in North Carolina.
Right.
But at the time, a producer David Holman, I think, turned me on to the Top Hat. He said, if you like Voxes, you'll love this.
Yeah.
It's a modded Vox, basically, AC30. And I played that for a long time, and I don't know why I switched from Top Hat. I think I'd sold the Top Hat to get Voxes because I got sponsored by Vox, and then I sold the Voxes to get the Kemper.
Right.
Because the technology that it uses isn't modeling.
Right.
So like all the Line 6 stuff, it's fine, the pods and whatever, but it's digital modeling where the Kemper takes a profile of and I studied it a lot.
All right.
You can go online and watch a lot of videos about how this technology works, and the company is it's a synthesizer company that developed the Kemper, a really great one, German company. I can't think of the parent company right now, but they're very well respected for their synthesizers.
Right.
So I knew it was going to be a quality instrument there, and it basically takes a profile of the amp, the classic amplifier that you're profiling, and then it kind of sounds exactly the same.
Right.
You know, all things being equal. Of course, yeah. I mean, look, at the end of the day, there's nothing like an amp with power tubes that you fire up and play through a cabinet. It's physical, you know, it has a movement and a physicality to it that you can't recreate with a solid state profiling amp.
Correct.
But the trade-off is ease of use and consistency. Sure. I mean, it's why I have a record player instead of only listening to music on my laptop.
Right.
There is definitely something about acoustically driven and created sound that is analog that is just a little different and more appealing.
Sweet.
What's cool about the Kemper that I do have though is it's a power head. So it does have a power amp in it, and it does power a guitar cabinet. A lot of them are just straight up, you know, direct. You plug in direct to the board.
Yeah.
So this actually does have there is a physicality to making the speakers play on stage, and you can't use cabinets.
Cool. So Kemper guys, if you're watching this, he did his job. He's
yeah, Jesus. I feel like I only got a small discount on the amp. I feel like I should get him for free now.
Send him a free one, please. Kind of is it?
I think so. I think in some regards there's aspects of being in face-to-face that I've mastered, and they come to me like riding a bike, and then other things that just continually need work. You know, you can't just rest on your laurels and leave it alone. It's kind of like exercise or something. If you stop doing it, you're not going to be able to do as many push-ups as you did when you were doing them every day for 3 months. So especially with being a singer, I'm using my body as an instrument. So if I don't have certain aspects of it right, it's not going to sound good. Absolutely. Maybe only 5 years after it was released, all of a sudden everyone who hated it started saying, "That's your best record."
It became a cult.
Why don't you? Yeah,
it's kind of like a cult album.
Yeah. Maybe part of that has to do with the fact that we just, quit playing the songs and swept it under the rug and you know left it. But I still think it's a well-made album. I'm proud of it. I feel like the work that we put into it was quality. Yeah. And I don't cringe when I listen to it. And I sometimes do that with some of our records. Not that they're bad. Right. But, you know, you can do that just because it's yourself and you listen back to stuff and you're like, oh. Sure. But that record, I feel like I can listen to and almost pull myself out of the equation and just be a listener and enjoy it. Cool. That's fantastic. So, yeah, it's a good one. My only critique of the record is we might have put a couple maybe too many songs on it. It could have been a song or two shorter. No, I think we probably would have been more successful commercially if that record came out a couple years after. Oh, really? If we released it in the early 2000s, I bet it would have been a more successful album. I feel like we might have just been a little bit ahead of the trend for that style of music from a punk rock band. So, not that we knew. I mean, we were just doing what we wanted to do and writing songs that we loved, and we didn't really think about the timing. So. I don't consider it an artistic failure. It was a commercial disappointment, but artistically, I think it still holds up almost 20 years later. Yeah. I don't think we need to do another one, but I've considered maybe cobbling that record as it is and a bunch of the other covers we've done since and around that time, and maybe putting a double vinyl LP together of just covers, you know, like Standards Volume 1 and 2 or something like that. So I think there's enough recorded covers that we've done as B-sides and whatnot here and there to probably make that happen. That I don't know if it'd be necessary to make a whole other album of covers. Working with Bill was great. It went almost exactly like I imagined it would, except it was even more fun and just it was more of a pleasure to work with him and the whole staff at Blasting Room. Yeah. He has some really quality people that are working there. Jason, his partner, is amazing, and then the other people that also work in the studio are great too. So. It was professional. It was fun. Yeah. It was everything. It was like ticked all the boxes. Yeah. It was a great experience. No, and I'll tell you why. That was the express reason we went to work with Bill, because we hadn't really worked with an outside producer in that way. And this album doesn't say produced by Face to Face and Bill Stevenson. It's just Bill Stevenson, because we wanted to hand over the reins and give him the final word anytime there was an artistic decision about the music. So, granted, we've been at it a long time and we had opinions about almost everything, but ultimately Bill won if there was anything that was kind of up for debate, and we wanted it that way because his track record speaks for itself. And
man, is an amazing.
He's one of my favorite songwriters in punk rock. I mean, I love the Descendants and all. Yeah. So, I love pop. I like that kind of pop punk, and so it was really nice to work with Bill too. Something I hadn't really imagined he would bring to the table that he did was the background vocal arrangements that he came up with were just fucking awesome. Yeah. Like Double Crossed would have never had that background vocal in the chorus, and it's like the best harmony. It makes the chorus.
So that's your signature.
That's right there. Oh, cool. Yeah. I mean, it was just the regular lead vocal there, and then he put that other harmony part in there, and I was like, holy shit, that just made it go from like this to this.
That's wicked.
We have a lot of touring left for this year, and we are scheduled to go back into Blasting Room in January to work on another album. Okay. And that'll be followed by another, year or two of touring. I don't. It'll be our 10th album. I don't know how many more albums we have. But I think once we've made 10 albums, we could probably just continue to tour.
Okay.
You know, maybe not at such a heavy pace,
Amazing.
but still do, you know, a certain number of
Number,
shows
yes.
per year. And just play the old shit that we've recorded. But who knows? You know, I don't really know. We're gonna keep doing it as long as it's fun for us, and as long as people still enjoy showing up and
Okay.
watching us play.
It looks like you're gonna be seeing a bigger Blessing Room, huh? From compared to last time. They
Oh no, I haven't
they
been on
made-
their website. Have they
Yeah.
done some renovations
yeah,
there?
they,
Oh, cool.
I think they bought next door.
Ah,
Yeah, but it's I don't know what used to be like some sort of warehouse next
there
door.
was like a furniture
Yeah. Yes, that's it,
store or
that's it.
something
So
behind the
they-
place.
Brought the wall down.
Oh,
Yeah,
nice.
so that should be interesting.
Yeah, I got to do my homework on that. Go check that out.
Cool. Thank you very much.
Okay.
All right, man.
Thank you.
Good talking with you.
No worries.
Nice
Thank you.
talking with you.
Thank you.